No one's ever fucked me this hard. In my opinion, it's a great time to add Ethereum, February 3rd. February 3rd was actually this drop, this crazy week, and if you think about that, we're only 10% lower at this stage. But the most important question that I think you should be asking yourself is, will Ethereum ever recover? And it's not just because of the Ethereum, it's because this asset is the leading altcoin out there. There is no alt season happening without Ethereum. We won't be seeing crazy blow of tops for altcoins without Ethereum. And will the speculation before was that alts are not going up because VCs has giant bags and they're just dumping all the supplies? Right now, the situation is different. Most of alts are very, very close to the bottoms. Ethereum is being buried alive on crypto Twitter by each and every influencer out there. Today, we're figuring out, is Ethereum a dead asset? Which means that altcoins are actually dead as well, and no one is going to ever buy utility in this market. And we are in a forever Bitcoin dominance going up market, Bitcoin leading only, and some meme coins trading, whilst at the same time you cannot hold any. You have to trade. Let's figure this out. Do me a favor, press the like button, and let's get into today's video. This is why Ethereum is going to zero. Here we can see Vitalik playing with a robot dog, and it's interesting thing that he is actually meowing at robot dog. Maybe this is he's actually bullish meow, and that's why he's pushing that. Meow. Meow. See, he said meow 2 times and I said it as well, right? And he also actually has a cat called Barsik. Barsik is actually a very, very default Russian name for a cat. I do believe like one of my family's sides definitely had a cat called Barsik. I think it was like a crazy outside cat with like half an eye fucked up and eaten tail. Like he was probably like fucking all the bitches in the city, right? Take note, Ethereum has reached the bottom. Let's revisit this post by the end of April and May. By then, we'll be at least $5,000 minimum. I was making this type of a prediction by March, right? I actually was saying that we should be seeing $4,000 Ethereum in March, right? And I want to show something from Luke Belmar. You blink and Ethereum will be back at $4,000, which also got 400k views. I actually kind of agree with that because this market is very, very interesting. Just a small change in sentiment, just one thing. Everyone just forgets everything. And that's actually the reason why market makers can do whatever they want, because everyone just cares about the current moment. Probably it's actually the result of the fractionalized brain right now that most of market participants have at this stage. Of course, not you, just most, right? The attention spans and all this stuff. So like the way you win is essentially counter trade that. And to counter trade that, what do? Just buy and hold. So you just have to focus or just don't care at all, right? $5,000 per Ethereum, and yeah, this is definitely a very, very nice bottom. Like in terms of buying Ethereum, I wanted to assess the risk reward because I think that like the whole result of this video today, if you're watching this content, should be a clear understanding in your mind of risk reward at this stage for this asset. What do we have? We have Bitcoin bull market. We have the BTC halving. We should be in the last year of the 4-year cycle. So if anything should be happening, this year. So you have a clear stop loss, even time-wise. By the end of the year, if nothing is happening, it's dead, right? Just leave, just sell, and things like that. What is the downside that you have? I would say that scenario that like a lot of people are talking about is $1,500, right? Although I do believe if we actually go in there, we're going to see some funds out there actually going bust, like getting liquidated, which would be pretty insane, right? Below 1K, it's very hard to believe into that currently. So at this stage, I do believe that like 1,500K is the worst case scenario, right? And that should be only 15-16% from here, right? 17% from here. So your downside is 17% if you're buying Ethereum, right? Your upside, from my point of view, from these levels, at least should be somewhere around 4x. At least. 4x would put us at $7,000, 7.4, 7.5. I do believe this is actually very, very kind of conservative at this stage. And like different people are calling for different things. Some people are calling for 10, 15, 20K. We'll see, just that the market cap of Ethereum is quite big even currently. So for it to even do like 3-4x, it would be like a lot, right? And I would also talk about this part, but all these preparations, even not by Trump, because if you remember that, I was doing videos on this a year ago when Trump was not the president yet, when no one was actually talking about election much. BlackRock was kicking off the development of their infrastructure on Ethereum as well. BlackRock pushed for Ethereum ETF as well, because they're essentially the ones, if they give papers out to apply for ETF, they usually get the ETFs applied. They usually get the ETFs passed, right? It's a very interesting setup. And the things I was saying is that these guys, they're playing this game on a different level. They do understand the power of time. And they do understand what is the amount of money they actually want to be making out of these things. It's not $1 billion. It's not hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not tens of billions of dollars. I do believe they're looking for hundreds of billions of dollars plus. And in order to do that, they definitely need infrastructure. And that's why I agree here 100% with the thesis of Murad, with the thesis of all these people in the marketplace. Bull run did not happen. We are still in accumulation. Your main risk on factor is pretty much Ethereum, because it's a risk on factor for altcoins as well. You definitely have Solana run, but I do believe the main reason for that is just it coincides nicely with the BTC dominance going up. It coincides nicely with this desire from the market when BTC is growing to gamble somewhere and to just move away funds and have this tool to spend the time on and potentially be making some money, right? But overall, as mentioned by me with the interview with the CEO of Godbig and all this stuff, the reason memes were moving along with BTC is because there was a clear infrastructure built for certain institutions to be making huge amounts of money from memes running, from volumes and from everything that was happening right there, right? Since then, probably parts of that infrastructure actually went bust, right? But to a certain extent, it's definitely present, because when there's inefficiency in the market, there are different companies who apply themselves to solve these inefficiencies, because this is what generates additional value and this is what generates profit for them. 2025 Ethereum bull run, I think I was showing this yesterday or the day before. It got 2x the views since then, right? So a very interesting situation right here. Worst quarter one of all time for Ethereum. 100% we're seeing that. Pretty insane and pretty crazy numbers, right? Because thus far, most of the Q1s for Ethereum, they were essentially green. And this one is absolutely red. It definitely says that something changed in the market, right? Because we can see, we have to focus on the bull cycle years, 2017 and 2021. We can see in 2017 we had 200% increase in March, right? 2021 it was 78% in January and 34% in March. Right now we have minus 30% in February and minus 10% in March, which is pretty insane, which is pretty drastic in terms of the situation that was happening. At the same time, the sentiment right now, fear and greed index, the setup, how much exposure people actually do have in the market, how privileged people are who actually still have exposure at this stage. The situation is absolutely insane from this point of view. And I would say this is a much more favorable setup in comparison to when everyone is screaming about alt season, everyone is positioned, sitting in the assets and just waiting. It's not like that anymore, 100%. Breaking. 91% of Trump's crypto holdings are based on the Ethereum blockchain. Ethereum is extremely undervalued. Yeah, it's also very interesting that pretty much the holdings of Trump, they also just do say that everything's on Ethereum. All the alts are on Ethereum. All the alts worth buying, because people who are essentially doing crypto around Trump understand the level of expertise of these people. The way it was structured, set up, a lot of scamming in the process, 100%, but the fact that they were able to get into that, the way they were able to do some projects with the current president of the United States of America, definitely shows and tells about some expertise that is actually present around there. And I do think the current situation in the market overall is very, very nice, because even if we are getting some recovery, some bounce currently, most people will actually treat that as a bounce. Most people will take profits. Most people will not believe that we can actually extend. And most people, this is the mindset that probably a lot of you also have. I just want to take my initials out, the money that I got out of the market, and just leave. And I do believe that most of you, actually, and most of us, has this mindset at this stage, which means two things. it's either they're not going to allow us that and everything just goes to zero from here, or you will be able to take your money out, you will be able to take your initials out, and the market will just continue. You will cope hard, you will re-enter, and you will get screwed up. The station that I'm sharing, the station I'm seeing, I expect April to be bullish. I expect us to go up since the start of April till the month of June. I expect us to have blow-off top in June. And I expect to have a crazy, insane crash in June, which will screw up most, because what most will do, they will not allocate currently, they will wait, they will allocate later, they will jump on leverage, they will be back in and back out, they will try to trade because the market told them to trade. By June, they will become more confident, which is the mistake, because the more assets go up, the less risks you should be taking from your end. But this is what most people are doing. The more assets go up, the more risks they're taking. They're jumping on 10, 15, 20, 50x leverage. They're doing absolute dump, crazy shit on this marketplace. And when we're in this 30 minutes behavior one more time, they will crash it. They will crash it like crazy. This is something I'm essentially seeing. Hurry up. This might be your last chance to buy Ethereum above $1,800. This is essentially a joke, a piece of sarcasm as well, making fun of the current price of Ethereum, 70k views. Let's see the size of the account. Yeah, the account is big as well. Finally, fully liquidated, I'm free. I actually put a like on it because I went through this experience partially, I would say. And yeah, it's definitely free now feeling, because it's like you move away this burden from yourself. That's, yeah, it's a nice feeling, 100%. This one I shared already, we will blink. It's interesting that most people that were seeing last cycle, they're all saying that it didn't happen yet. They're all saying that it won't be happening until Ethereum will be seeing new all-time highs. This is something that they're seeing. It's and it's also interesting because it's not that, last cycles they were different and nothing like that was happening before, because what we have seen thus far is something that you can, for example, count to in 2019, for example, right? The only difference is that obviously we were not in the 4-year cycle at that stage, and timing-wise, we should be seeing something like right now. Probably this level of pumpage also felt, I do think that we are closer to 2020 situation before the COVID drop. And probably right now we're exactly in the COVID drop situation. Yeah, this one was the COVID drop, right? And this one was the dip on September as well. So these two situations, they're very, very similar to our case as well. Something that we're seeing currently never happened before, right? So we were going up, people were probably bullish, they were buying the assets right here, right? And we were dumping. We were going up here as well, and the same thing essentially happened right after as well. And I do think that once, probably in a couple decades, the current price movement that is happening on the chart right here would look like this. Obviously, it's only possible if BTC will grow up like crazy, will jump like crazy, right? And this is the bull market 2017. The size of this bull market is comparing to the small pumps in 2019 and 2020, which is very, very interesting by itself. Ethereum has had the worst performance in the last 5 years so far. When you read that, do you think of buying the asset? The natural reaction I'm getting is I have to at least look into it, because you have to understand all of this thing transfers to mindshare. And you cannot neglect mindshare in this market, because you can just look at these things in a very, very stupid way. People are saying we are in attention economy. Who the fuck talks about Solana being down at this stage? I think no one, right? No one is talking about Solana being down. You cannot just hear these people. Everyone is making fun of Ethereum, and it's definitely at the top of the mindshare. There are people who made millions of dollars buying Sol at the bottom of the bear market. And one of the main metrics for them was mindshare that was present. Sol was at $7, 10, 13. People were talking about it. They were discussing it. The same thing is happening with Ethereum. It's pretty interesting. From one point of view, you can say it's 10, but the whole thing was happening before. It all actually was happening before. Everyone was talking to Ethereum when it was bottoming and nothing happened. Each and every time, at least, it was going up 2x over the course of the next several months. We can recall the same situation that happened in August. In August, we were actually at all-time lows for the transaction fees on Ethereum blockchain. What happened right after? It jumped to X. Where are we at currently? We're also at all-time lows in the transaction fees for the Ethereum network. Last but not least, Ethereum is holding the same exact support it did in June 2021. Either the market bottoms here, or Ethereum and Bitcoin will break bull market price structure. If it does break bull market price structure, will the Fed step in to bail it out? What if all three break price structure together, BTC, Ethereum, and the Nasdaq 100 tech stocks along with the S&P index? Then the Fed is really going to panic like the COVID dump. Will they step in there and start quantitative easing and printing to bail out markets? Possibilities, but not certainties. If this is the third year of the bull run, there's no point selling this level for any top 100 all alt or Ethereum. There is no point. Even Ethereum is 96% above its 2022 bear market low. There is just no point selling now. We had better exits for all these alts in 2023 and 2024. Why sell now? Rather wait for some bounce, in opinion of the author. This is something I shared, that like risk reward here if you sell, I don't think it's good enough. Only if we will really see COVID-like dump and you will be able to catch the bottom because you sold currently, right? And exit in September at whatever price you get good or average. Many alts are at price it's not worth selling because there is no point selling them here. Absolutely no point. We must see because we have no other choice. The money you leave in crypto should be what you don't need for the next 5 to 6 months. How the Fed, Powell, and Trump policies hold the bull run will be studied for the next 10 to 20 years if we slip into recession, regardless in financial markets and economics. Wow, this is actually a very, very interesting take. Very exciting. The best traders I know get caught off guard and are still holding. Even in the case we are slipping into recession, it won't go lower from here. It will in the sense the bull market price structure will break for Ethereum BTC and the Nasdaq. After that, there will be a lower high bounce to around 100k BTC somewhere in Q2, where we get to exit in June. Yeah, exactly something that I'm sharing. And I do think that actually you should be exiting in June. I should probably just shut up about the overview that I'm sharing, because the more people will know about, the more people will be prepared and the less likely it's going to happen. But I do think that no one actually believes in that at this stage. And that's it. That's the worst case scenario. Even in that case, there is a better price-wise exit, which is higher than today. If we told bull market structure for BTC inbound somewhere at these levels, if BTC holds 70,000 lows breakout level of last year, bull market price structure is still maintained, and we can possibly go high till end September to close the third year cycle with a high above 100k BTC. We might have entered stagflation. This month, Powell cut down QE by 35% to 40% of whichever amount, which is a bullish sign, but markets went lower. This only happens in stagflation. Positive news doesn't move the market up. Negative news doesn't move the market down. And the Fed is powerless. The basic definition of stagflation is that the market stops trading based on what the Fed is doing only in stagflation environment. And we are inside it right now. 97 views. Wow, this is just an awesome overview, man. Great. So the things that I actually shared, the things that I wanted to focus on, the issue that I'm essentially seeing in this logic is that there are some things and there are some people telling that like the reason we should be bullish is because we're at all-time highs in terms of the stable coins on exchanges, right? Which means that everyone is just sitting in stable coins. I don't think this is the case. And this is a very, very important piece of alpha out there. I do think that the reason stable coins supplies are actually at the all-time highs is because everyone is on leverage. People were tired of holding the alts. They sold into memes. They may be like down badly. They got liquidated multiple times already, and they're trying to make it all back with leverage at this stage. And this is the reason I'm thinking that we are at all-time highs in terms of stable coins on exchanges, which means that this fast COVID-like drop will actually liquidate a lot out there, will actually clear the whole thing up. You can check it out, asking different people, asking exchanges out there, asking how much people actually making from referral commissions from exchanges. They're saying this thing. It's also a piece of alpha. In August, it was very low. It went really, really low. Right now, despite the current market setup, it's still stable around the same level, which means that people are still trading, which means there might be enough money to wreck out there. Just an interesting thought out there. I personally do not prepare for the sharp move down, and I shared my overview multiple times already. I do believe we are dumping till 2nd, 3rd of April. I do believe that most of the dump happened already. So if you're buying around these levels, you should be good, especially on the time frame of mid-term to long-term, right? I do believe we should be pumping till June. By then, we should be assessing the situation. I do believe Ethereum shall be returning. I do believe the sentiment is ideal. I do believe everything is happening. It's just manipulation to make sure you get out of your coins, right? Projects know about that. Projects actually plan out. They actually plan to market in April and for April to actually be bullish. Projects that are connected to biggest exchanges and biggest Asian cabals out there. This is it. Let me know in your comments. Do you think Ethereum is dead? Or is it actually coming back? Thank you very much for listening and watching this one. Stay healthy and rich. I shall be seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.